Hey guys, this is Cam15 back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back with another Hawkeye episode review, and this is the season finale or series finale. We don't know if we're gonna get a season 2 of Hawkeye, um, as this show ends and stuff like that. Obviously, from what I'm hearing in the community, it's kind of debate. This episode is mixed. Some people were disappointed by this finale. Some people were like, "Oh, this finale was actually pretty good and solid." Well, some people are in the middle. I'm kind of in the middle with this whole finale. Like, there's some things I like, there's some things I don't like, but that's mostly in response to the Kingpin and how they handle him in this episode. And then even you can see in the post credit scene, I thought they stupidly did that stupidly. Like no tease to anything new, no tease to Maya and stuff like that. What she's gonna be doing in her own Echo series. It's just let me get this out the way. It's just a Rogers musical performance, all like no cutout. We just see the entire thing. I'm like, really? You could have this in like legit actual real life in New York. We don't need to see this on a fucking television show. And it's like, oh boy, I remember. See, after seeing that, after watching the episode, especially the Kingpin plot line going on and everything, and I'm like, okay, are we gonna get a post credit scene where it shows that Kingpin's still freaking alive and everything, and he's got some sort of eye patches on his eyes where so one of his men find him and he's gonna be like, "We're going after Maya now. She's pissed me off for the last time." No, we don't get that. We don't get something foreshadowing the future for Maya's series, or we don't even get a pickup to where, post credit scene with Maya. It's just like, the hell Marvel was doing? What the hell, Kevin Feige, Marvel? What were you thinking in this? For the post credit scene. It was like that post credit scene from the whole, I think it was Spider-Man Homecoming, where you just have Chris Evans like, well, you thought you were gonna get something big, huh? Well, Pete, hold on a second. All right. Sorry for that. Sorry for that. Had to go pick up my dogs. Crap. Anyways, yeah, listen, I don't like how they handle the post-credit scene, and stuff like that. Like I said, I thought this was all in all, this episode was, I think, still a solid enough episode, and a solid enough finale. I don't think it's like how people say, "Oh, this finale was a freaking waste of time" and stuff like that. It's freaking very weak. I'm like, I don't think it's weak. I just think some things executed in this finale wasn't really the best, and that's it pertains to the Kingpin. So yeah. Anyways, let's get to the episode. Obviously, we get a whole scene where we start the episode off with Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin. Now I never watched the Daredevil series, so I can't say, like, I only watched like one clip off of YouTube in his battle with Bullseye and Daredevil, and well, I guess the guy was menacing, like crazy. He was menacing here. He was obviously a smart, calculating man. We see here because he starts to be like telling Eleanor Bishop like, "Why are you leaving my operations after everything we've done together and stuff like that?" And obviously Eleanor's like, "Look, I just can't, I need to protect my family and stuff like that. So I'm leaving." But then, you have it to where, well, and it gets later into the scene where, Maya eventually distancing herself from him. And the thing that I do like about the Kingpin, which is obviously just like the Kingpin I would envision to know, is he doesn't give two F's. You try to leave and run out of his operations, well, then he is going to try to kill you for that, and he's going to try to get back at you because he always is going to remember, oh, okay, you think you get away scot-free of this? Okay, fine. Okay. I'll take care of you right now, and you'll regret freaking leaving my operations in the first place. So that's when we obviously see Kazi go after to try to kill Kate's mom. Now, in the meantime, Hawkeye and Kate Bishop, or Clint and Kate, are essentially understanding that they have to be ready for this and everything. And I do like the whole thing how Clint finally calls Kate her partner, or his partner and everything. And they said they're going to work on this and they're going to finish this once and for all and stuff like that. But the thing Hawkeye tells Kate is like, listen, the moment you get into this, just to let you know, this is going to be your life. So Yeah, I do like the scene where they're making a bunch of trick arrows and everything. That was a pretty cool scene. It goes to show you that, well, Hawkeye's much of a tech genius, not a genius, but he's got some tech knowledge and stuff like that of how to make all these arrows and things like that, which is pretty dang cool and stuff like that. So yeah, and we get it to where we get the scene at Rockefeller's palace or place or something like that with the tree in the background. Now, spoilers of Spider-Man No Way Home if you haven't seen this. So get this out the way or skip a few bit into the video. I shouldn't be talking this more than like 1 or 2 minutes at least. But okay, spoilers again. So I'm going to talk about Spider-Man No Way Home spoilers. So at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, obviously after Peter gets his new apartment and everything because everybody's forgot about him and stuff like that. We know that he makes his own, Spider-Man suit with the sewing machine, just like what it looks like in the comics. And obviously, the number one thing is when he was swinging with the new suit on, he was swinging over Rockefeller Place. And obviously, people are like, "Oh, so that means he could potentially make a cameo in Hawkeye." Where they could probably just make reference of like they could see him like, oh, who's that guy swinging? And Hawkeye could be telling Kate, oh, him, that's just that spider guy. That's a spider kid. You don't need to deal with him. You don't need to deal with him unless he comes in and affiliates with you. You don't have to worry about him. He doesn't really event like he's helped us in the past, but he doesn't really mess with us. He kind of does his own things. His title is like friendly neighborhood Spider-Man or something like that. So we don't need to worry about them. But they make no references to that swing in Spider-Man unless Spider-Man just wasn't unless Spider-Man wasn't swinging there. But he did get some sort of radio report. I would envision if that was the case, he would have appeared. But my only thing is this: we later see the tree goes down. And then two, if you go back to that end credits or that ending scene in Spider-Man No Way Home, well, Spider-Man swinging and it's snowing. Like you can see the snow pellets falling from the sky and it's snowing in that scene. Here it wasn't snowing. So it could have been held at a different time. Maybe it was the same day, but it was held at a different time before it just started rapidly snowing. But then again, that doesn't make no sense. Maybe, well, it could have been snowing crazy earlier in the night, and then guess what? That's the whole thing. Spider-Man maybe heard like, oh, there was something going on at Rockefeller. I just passed by that area. Well, whatever happened, and I guess something took place there. But I understand. It was probably the fact that it was just held a different day, or something like that. That's my only guess to believe. But it's the same thing with damn near every MCU series since the start of all these heroes being introduced. Like, where the fuck are these heroes when some of these guys are going through like the social films? Like, especially freaking like, for example, that whole thing after Avengers when it's Iron Man 3, Thor, The Dark World, Captain America, the Winter Soldier. People are like, why can't like fucking Captain America, Black Widow, or fucking Hawkeye not have helped out? Have helped out freaking Tony back in Iron Man 3 when he was dealing with all this freaking stuff going on with the fake Mandarin and everything. Well, the only plausible thing is their problems were taking place at the same time, if not shortly there, and they were doing their own missions and stuff like that. And they came like, that's your problem, Tony, not ours. So yeah, that's the only thing I kind of hate about the MCU, where that's like, some of these heroes should show up in these other movies, but I understand why contract reasonings, it makes no sense. Whatever. Anyways, you get a really cool scene where, obviously, they're surveying the landscape. Eventually, Hawkeye sees that not Kazi is sniping at them. He doesn't know it is Kazi, but they manage to get away. We actually see the LARPers actually participate later on in this whole scene, where they're helping people out, and some of them actually like take down some of the tracksuit mafia people. But the thing is, you have it to where Yelena Belova is there as well. She's trying to kill Clint. And you get a very funny scene with her and Kate, because Kate sees her and she's like, oh, hey, buddy, what's up? And she's like, Kate Bishop, what are you doing here? And you get a hilarious scene in the elevator and everything while Kate's trying to just delay freaking Yelena from trying to get to Clint. And you get this whole just different room scene where they're going to the different rooms just fighting each other and everything. Listen, the dynamic between Kate Bishop and Yelena Belova, They're definitely creating that next Hawkeye, next Black Widow relationship, already mended, in force, because I definitely can see it. Like I definitely can see it. Um, where eventually Yelena leaves freaking Val's operation, and she's gonna probably in the next Avengers film officially join the Avengers. And since that her and Kate Bishop already have a lot of chemistry already, and they seemingly could be best friends. Because even in the fight scene, Yelena's like, "Come on, don't make me like you any more than I already do." So it already goes to confirm that Yelena actually she actually likes Kate. Not romantically for people that are like that, but um she respects her. She seems like she could be a pretty cool person to hang out with. So I think Kevin Feige and Marvel are building towards the next dynamic between a Hawkeye and Black Widow, with obviously you could say, well, the people that will take up the mantle for the past version of the characters. Yelena is going to take up the mantle of Black Widow for Natasha, while eventually when Kate or Clint is like, "I'm just going to retire. You can be the new Hawkeye or whatever. You can do it, but just be your own character." That's when Kate Bishop will take the mantle of the new Hawkeye. And that's kind of just the thing, just introducing Kate Bishop into the show. So I definitely did like that. You got a whole fight scene on the ice rink with Rockefeller Plaza. I keep calling it Place or Plaza. I think it's Rockefeller Plaza. I don't know. I forgot what it's called. Where you have Kate and freaking Clint fighting most of the tracksuit mafia there. And it's like I said with the Spider-Man scene, it's like, well, he could have shown up. So yeah, I forgot about spoilers, whatever. You should have seen Spider-Man No Way Home anyways at this point. So yeah. But even before that, Clint actually fights Kazi, gets the better of him for the most part, and everything. So they're fighting together. We also see Clint is actually wearing, well, one of his forms of his costume, essentially with the purple like arrow type looking thing across his chest and everything. And it's funny because he's like, he later says in the episode, he's like, you know what, this isn't a bad freaking thing. I like this fit and everything. I'm like, so expect that to be the new costumes for Hawkeye. It isn't just be some random, him in a black vest. He's gonna be probably wearing that same, outfit going forward for that and stuff like that. So anyways, what happens is they find out that Kate's mother's been found, because obviously Kingpin and his men are targeting Kate or Eleanor Bishop. So Kate goes after her mom, and that starts the fight between her and freaking Kingpin. Yelena shows up to attack Clint, and in this whole Yelena Belova Clint scene, it was kind of actually very like emotional, because Clint's like, "Listen, you're not gonna believe me, but I did not kill your sister. She sacrificed herself to save everyone, to save the world." And Yelena's not believing it. She's kind of beating him up and everything. And you just get a lot of you just get a good scene here where essentially Yelena essentially finds out the truth and is just understanding, is willing to cope with the loss of her sister. Because remember, yes, she's going after Clint because she was hired to do so, but she's really going after Clint because she's vengeful and she wants to kill the person who, well, she thinks killed her sister Natasha, because she had a close relationship with her, and she never got a chance to say goodbye anyways. She never got to see her again after the Black Widow movie, which means she never got a chance to say goodbye, and say her piece and stuff like that. Because in the post-credit scene of the movie, that was her way of saying goodbye to Natasha. She never got to see her in person, say, "I'm gonna miss you" and everything and stuff like that. But Hawkeye, he like goes in to remember the whistle, does the whistle that obviously Natasha did and everything. He goes on to say, Natasha was really good. She always told me about you and stuff like that, and how much she loved you. And it's obviously very conflicting with Yelena, because it's like she wants to kill Clint, but it's like she obviously knows in her right heart, like, the way he's talking about her, I know, he didn't truly kill my sister. My sister did sacrifice herself, and stuff like that. So she stops, she helps Clint up, and then she just walks away. And after they both say that, well, we loved her, And she kind of just walks off like, I'm just gonna go now before I do something where I'm gonna regret it and I'm gonna try to kill you. So for now, that's the last of what we're going to see for Yelena Belova going forward. I don't know what property or what series she's going to show up in. The only other thing I could see her showing up again is in maybe Captain America, the new Captain America movie that's going to be centered around, obviously, Sam, as Captain America this time, or unless she's in the next Avengers film, whatever that is. I don't expect us to see Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova for quite a while, which is the same we can say about Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld as Clint Barton and Kate Bishop. I don't think we're going to see them for a while until maybe potential season 2 or a movie, Avengers movie. This series could have definitely another season 2, or could have a season 2. It's gonna be just like Loki, I believe. I think we're gonna get a season 2 with this. It's gonna be announced. It's not gonna be announced like how Loki was at the end of their season 1, but I think it's gonna be announced. I think we're gonna get a season 2 after maybe a movie or something like that. So yeah. In terms of the Kate Bishop stuff, she fights against she's going after her mom, and she's fighting against she's gonna fight against Kingpin. Now the thing is, Kingpin like literally rips the fucking door off Eleanor Bishop's freaking car and everything. I was like, okay, this motherfucker ain't playing. 2, Kate shows up, she freaking shoots an arrow at his chest, and he's like, ooh, and he's like, he takes the arrow. I'm like, oh, so arrows don't hurt this guy, and everything. So you get a fight between him and Kate. Kate gets the ever living crap kicked out of her, and it's funny because at the end of the episode, Hawkeye's talking to her, or Clint's talking to her. He's like, you're a lucky person. Nobody really ever escapes a fight with a Kingpin. Typically they come out dead. So hey, you passed the test. You lived up to what you said you were gonna do, and everything. So anyways, you have a point in the fight where Kate traps the Kingpin in using like this trap arrow thing, and you just have it to where it's kind of just Kingpin just gets the upper hand on gets the upper hand on Kate multiple times. Like he is literally beating her down and throwing her around and everything. But it's before he eventually grabs the arrows out of her back, breaks them. But the thing is, eventually Kate shoots something that causes a chain reaction that essentially makes a huge explosion. Kingpin is just down after that. Kingpin's down for the count. So however you feel about that, you'd be like, why is Kingpin losing to a freaking hero that just became a hero? Well, because they got to find some way to freaking have Kate save her mom and Kate make this out of alive. Listen, I don't think. Listen, we eventually see him walk off of that, so I don't think this depowers him. I do think they maybe depowered him a bit, because in all reality, if you watch that Daredevil series, I know from what those people are saying, he should have killed Kate Bishop the moment she started getting involved in the fight. But I personally am fine with it. He managed to get up only like minutes later. And is like, even though he's limping off, he managed to get up. It goes to show you, okay, this guy he can take fucking punishment, and stuff like that. In the meantime, Kate and Eleanor have a reunion, but the thing is, Kate's like, you've done too many bad things and you lied to me, and guess what? You have to serve your time for it. And the police roll up and they're taking her to prison, and Eleanor Bishop's like, you're really gonna let your mother go to jail on Christmas? And I'm like, yes, bitch, she's gonna let you go to jail on Christmas because you did. What are you talking about? You were in a friggin' operation full of criminals. The hell are you talking about? Trying to make you act like you're the sorry self person. So, Eleanor Bishop's going to jail. All I'm guessing is that's gonna be Kate Bishop's probably gonna be her antagonist for most of her journey throughout the MCU, because if we know anything about MCU characters, especially villains, they like to take shit personal. The thing is, well, 9 out of 10 times, whenever Eleanor Bishop is going to be known as out, she's going to go probably after Kate and try to get revenge on her and be like, you're no daughter of mine to me anymore. You just left me out to go to jail. Okay, yeah, we'll see. I'll see you next time. And she'll probably be a mother that will be a lot more ruthless to Kate. And she's probably going to say things that Kate will probably not want to hear and everything. Um, I hope they make it to where Eleanor Bishop's character kind of takes a whole dark turn. It's not that she's not bad at already, but she can take a very dark turn where she just gives no F's given and she just has no more sympathy for Kate after what Kate did to her. Because she could be like, you exposed my operations and stuff like that, and you blame me for all this. I was just trying to protect you. But fine, you don't want me to protect you? Then I'll kill you myself. And maybe we're just a worthless piece of crap like my daughter. Maybe I should have freaking just outdone with you and everything. We eventually also find out she started affiliating with the Kingpin because, well, guess what? You remember, if you remember at the start of episode 1, Kate's dad was actually in cahoots with the Kingpin as well. And the reasoning why they were talking about they might move because they're not going to be able to afford things as well because the Kingpin was asking for some sort of insane amount of money. And yeah, that's what happened. And obviously Eleanor just picked up where her husband was there. Oh yeah, Jack. I don't know how to feel about Jack. He was always teased to be swordsman and he got really good skills and everything. Not to say that maybe he can't be swordsman later in down the road and they bring that character back, but it's like it was like the whole thing back in WandaVision where it's like we saw the Pietro, the Quicksilver from the Fox universe, and we all thought, oh, it's they broke the multiverse. The Fox Quicksilver showed up in WandaVision, and you'll later find out he's just some random Joe Schmo. That's kind of here what happens here. Whether you feel about it, it was kind of a letdown in my opinion, to be honest. Like, why have this guy to be Swords Master, but he's just some regular goody two shoe guy and everything, who I'm guessing is going to get into the LARPing game. So it's like, well, okay, yeah, maybe Marvel can make him into Swords Master later on, but it's like, why? Obviously the most talking point scene, anyways, getting to the end of this review that people are talking about most definitely after watching this episode is how they handled the Kingpin and that storyline going forward with Maya. Essentially, Kingpin, like I said earlier, is walking off after this fight with Kate Bishop because the police are like, where is he? And they're like, he's gone. He's walking off. I'm like, okay. I'm guessing one of his men's gonna come in and be like, boss, I'm here, let's go, and everything, and he's gonna get off scot-free. No, after taking out Kazi, which I'm presume she killed Kazi, which it's debatable how they make the scene pretty emotional, but I can understand why people say I don't feel much, why this scene's so emotional after she kills him and stuff like that. We don't know if he's dead. He probably is dead. Like, why get this emotional scene when we barely know the interaction between the two characters? I can understand that. I understand if you're like, it was still emotional regardless because that was her friend, maybe somebody she actually loved romantically. But anyways, Maya shows herself in front of the Kingpin and she is willing to take things into her own hands. And Kingpin's kind of be like, hey, it's okay, listen, and stuff like that. I need help. I still love you. You're like my daughter and everything to me. But we see Maya put a hand on this gun she has in her holster, and the scene cuts away, and we hear a gunshot. When I was first watching this, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Don't tell me you motherfuckers introduced the Kingpin only to kill him off in one episode. Now, listen, I did some more digging on Twitter and everything, and people were like, listen, guys, I understand if you're mad, but listen, look into this. Apparently in the comics, in a Daredevil's issue run, there was a scene just like this where Maya confronts Kingpin after learning that Kingpin was responsible for her father's death, and she grabs a gun and she ends up shooting Kingpin, and we find out later that Kingpin is still alive. It's presumed that Kingpin was dead, but we find out that Kingpin was presumed still alive. What am I saying? Kingpin is still alive. He's just blinded for some time. He eventually gets surgery on his eyes and he's able to see yet again. So clearly that's the plot line the MCU and Kevin Feige are taking it. And maybe that's the premise of the Echo TV series, where Maya probably thinks she killed Wilson Fisk, she killed the Kingpin, and she can go live her life in peace. But then she realizes that some of his men in her series are after him, and we probably get a revelation in her series that, guess what? Kingpin's still alive. He's probably got eye patches on his eyes and everything, and he's like, I'm gonna get back for what for Maya did. Now, I can understand why some people are like, why the fuck would they do that? Like, shit, did they really have to do that? I can understand why people are like, but they did the scene from the comics. You guys don't need to freak out. Listen, I think this was just, I'm on the side of, I think this was just poorly executed. You know, I was watching, obviously, the YouTuber 3C Films, who's a great YouTuber. I like his content, especially when he's talking about the MCU and everything. I started watching more of his videos because of the Spider-Man No Way Home content he was coming out with. So I think he said the right thing. The fact that in his video, he said, like, it was poorly executed despite that, and they don't really pay it off the way it is. Like, if they had done it, if they had did this where they just let the Kingpin walk away, Maya has her series, the Echo series, and she does that in the Echo series, okay, that's a payoff you make, because you get more time to be adjusted to the Maya's character, and the reason why she's going after Kingpin and her forces to get revenge on her father. And she's gonna think that Kingpin's dead, only for Kingpin to have more rage. Now, maybe this is, like I said, the plot. Maybe, like I said a few minutes ago, the plot line of Echo is Kingpin. We see the revelation that Kingpin is still alive. Maya didn't kill him, and she's going to pay for not finishing him off. Don't know why you'd shoot a guy in the eye. Don't know why would you do that. Just shoot him in the fucking brain, or if not anything, shoot him in the damn heart. And guess what? That's instant death right there. Because guess what? There's no way they're getting back up from that. But I'm guessing the thing is, in Echo, that's when we're gonna see the return of the Kingpin, and he's gonna be going after Maya. Again, what I think for the Echo series they could do is they can have Maya, have Kingpin in there. Maybe they introduce Daredevil into it, because again, spoilers for Spider-Man No Way Home. Charlie Cox is Matt Murdock is in Spider-Man No Way Home as Peter's lawyer. Maybe that's a way you shortly introduce Daredevil in the series. Maybe we see Daredevil in the Echo series. Don't know. We're just gonna have to wait and see whenever Echo comes out to see how that's gonna pay off, because I know there's a lot of people pissed off with the way they handled Kingpin in this episode. I can understand. I still think Kingpin was still fine for the most part in this episode, but I can understand why people are pissed off. Like, why'd they really do that? We didn't need to do that. So yeah, that's the thing there. Yeah, but at the end of the episode, because Kate really has no place to go, Hawkeye kind of takes her in and lets her live with lets her live with him and his family and everything. They make it in time for Christmas, and everything. They burn the Ronin costume, which is signaling the end of the Ronin era of things. We also find out that the watch that Hawkeye got for his wife, it had a shield emblem on it, and it further confirms that Hawkeye's wife was Mockingbird from the comics, who apparently was in love with Hawkeye in the comics, and they actually did get married. So we find out that she was Mockingbird here. She doesn't specifically say it, but we later see that, oh no, she was Mockingbird, and everything. And yeah, that's kind of where the episode ends off, and everything. So in terms of the show, I thought Hawkeye was actually, I thought it was solid. I thought it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, especially as an introduction to Kate Bishop. I loved Haley Steinfeld's performance as Kate Bishop. I think she just has a lot of spunk and a lot of courage and a lot of heart. And I really did like her Kate Bishop. She really, even though it's not, like I said, really much loved or liked game in the community, she really gave me that Avengers Kate Bishop vibe right then and there, and stuff like that, with just the personality, because that was my first exposure to Kate Bishop, just playing the Avengers game. So seeing it here, it's like, oh, I like her Kate Bishop, and everything. So, you know, it's nice and everything. And I got a blast out of it. Yeah, the season finale may not be what I expected, but hey, I thought the show was solid enough, and I still think this is a pretty, again, another solid Disney Plus Marvel TV show out of all the ones that are released. Some people are going to say the Disney Plus TV shows suck. They have huge letdowns in their finales and stuff like that. Personally, I'm of the person that say I disagree with that standpoint. I think all of the Disney Plus TV series, and you can call me an MCU homer, I think they paid off. I think they had solid season finales. Yes, it may have not been the best like people are predicting, but I think the problem is I think we get I think we set our expectations too high for these series, these TV series, and when we set our expectations too damn high, like a lot of people did again for Hawkeye, you have a lot of people saying, "Oh, I was kind of let down by the season finale. This kind of sucked, to be honest." Because guess what? Your freaking expectations are exponentially freaking high. We're coming off freaking a whole we're coming off a whole phase off Endgame. We have to temper and lower those expectations again. The last high crazy movie we got that had crazy, hype was Spider-Man No Way Home, and that actually lived up to it. Well, yeah, people say, yeah, Shang-Chi was great. I thought Black Widow was and Eternals, I still haven't seen Eternals, so whatever. But I haven't heard good things. I've heard mixed things. Some people like it, some people hate it. It's the middle it's the middle part of the film. I'm gonna be reviewing that. If you're on asking why am I reviewing that so late, I didn't go see the movie in theaters because I wasn't interested in seeing movie theaters. I'll just wait for it to come on Disney Plus. It's coming on Disney Plus next month in January, and I'll watch it. And I'll do a review on it. Yeah. Listen, I'm not fazed by it. I think all the Disney Plus series are good in their own ways. I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. Listen, and if you feel different, that's fine. I won't judge you for feeling different about maybe these Disney Plus TV shows that you feel like, yeah, the start in the middle, they're always good, but then they always ended off like the way, like in an satisfactory way where it's like it gets me disappointed. But maybe going now that it's like the Hawkeye's the fifth Disney Plus TV show, maybe then whatever the next Disney Plus TV show is, lower your damn expectations and not get it so damn high. Because like I said, these aren't movies. These are freaking these are freaking TV series. And again, people will say, see, this shows you why the MCU and Marvels are falling off, because the highest of highs was freaking Endgame, and after that, stuff like that. I personally think the MCU has been killing it as of late. Again, I'm of the advocate, don't sleep on Marvel, because again, like I said, they're going to take plot lines and elements from phase 4, and people are going to be like, oh, guess what? They're going to call it in like maybe phase 5 or phase 6, and they're going to pay those off. And people are like, that's so freaking cool. Phase 4 is a lot more remembered than what I thought it was. Because remember, phase 1 wasn't all that good at first. Now, a lot of people were too high on phase 1 and stuff like that, even though it was building up to the Avengers and stuff like that. So, listen, it's just reintroducing and restarting up the freaking next phase for the next ultimate big bad. But other than that, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Hopefully, you guys have liked the video. If you did, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on the Hawkeye series as a whole. Did you like it? Did you feel disappointed by it? As well as hit that subscribe button to get more MCU content. Again, in the outro, I'm going to list my spoiler / non-spoiler review to Spider-Man No Way Home. If you've already seen the film, you haven't wanted to get my thoughts on it, well, there you go. But other than that, guys, this is it for another MCU series. So the next MCU I guess product we're getting out is Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, which I believe their trailer released today. So yeah, but other than that, I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day or no chance this video. Until then, guys, peace.